Today we have a story of a crazy entitled parent throwing shots. We'll get into that in a bit, but first, my mom wants to check my bank account and I can't really say no. So I, 18-year-old female, opened my own bank account a few months ago under my own name. Before I got my first paycheck, my mom told me that she'd like to check my purchases and how much money I spent on the account. Another problem is that I do have to give her some money for other reasons. I bought a new phone, secondhand, and when my mom asked me how much I spent on it, I lied and said that it was 300 euros, but it was actually 420 euros. I earn 1,400 euros monthly, and yesterday she asked me how much money I have left, and I said I have like 800 euros left, which is true because I had to pay my mom 60 that I owed her. I also used the money to buy things that I really need. I wanted to buy the important things now, due that I won't have to worry about my second paycheck. The problem is that I sell old clothes online because I need as much money as possible to move out of this sickening household, but when I sent the packages to my clients, I was too lazy to go to the bank and withdraw the money for the post, so I just used my card. Yesterday, my mom wanted to see my bank account and asked me if I got the statement of my account because I tried to get it, but it says that I have no statement. She doesn't believe me though. I didn't want to show her my online banking account, so I blocked it. I just feel so uncomfortable showing her what I spend my money on because it's my privacy. I also don't understand why she feels so entitled to know. It's my money and I worked hard for it, but the problem is that my mom is a huge drama queen. Saying no will only give us more trouble. But I also don't want to explain myself because I don't need to. I just don't want any trouble because I'm tired. I wanted to rush to the bank and see if I can get the statement and hide them. Today is my grandma's birthday. My mom told me to gift her some money, so I thought about getting another statement once I withdraw the money for my grandma so that my mom will finally leave me alone. This situation is stressing me a lot. I woke up anxiously because I hate having to worry about things that aren't actually a problem. I don't know why my parents make me feel bad for spending my own money on things that I really need. It's too much stress for me. Thankfully, they don't have my account details and don't have any access unless I let them, but I'm scared that they might force me to do so. I just want her to leave me the freak alone. This is definitely something I think OP needs to put their foot down and say that this is a boundary for them. Once you're 18, once you have your own bank account, and once you're getting your own money, that's yours to spend how you see fit and to control how you see fit. Everything you fear is only going to happen if you cave and allow it to happen. They may make a huge deal about it, they may try to make drama about it, but you just continue to stand your ground and say that this is a boundary you're not going to relent on. Also, hi, I'm Steven, and if you guys can't get enough of hearing about these entitled parents, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons down below? That said, our next story is, my mom keeps hitting and abusing me while pregnant. She is very mentally ill and I've been experiencing this all my life, so it doesn't bother me as bad. But this day, she has succeeded in pushing me to the limit. I had to move back in because of some issues with my child's father. She threw water in my face because of an argument previously. Today, I woke up with a really bad cough. She has severe OCD when it comes to germs and bacteria, so the fact that I was coughing, she was already losing her mind. I reminded her that my little brother probably gave me the cough because he was sick for 2 weeks with a really bad cough too. That was similar to mine. My brother is her favorite, so she starts freaking out and getting really angry that I'm accusing him. I remind her that it isn't really that big of a deal, but she keeps getting more and more furious. To the point, she involves my brother in it. Now we're screaming and going back and forth about who gave me the cough. I peacefully remind her again that my brother is around kids of all ages at school, and they could have given it to my brother and then my brother gave it to me, but it's not that big of a deal. I realize that she's taking it more seriously than it really is, and starts to hit me and goes to the sink and threatens to throw water at me for accusing my brother. I'm so done with her abuse, I grabbed a water bottle and threw water back. My brother starts screaming, now she's pulling my hair but I'm defending myself. I'm literally pregnant. I don't want her to hurt my baby if she decides to hit me in the wrong spot. She grabs a bucket of water and throws it all over me. Then I proceed to do the same back. She's now telling me to get out of her house and that my brother will hate me for this. My brother is screaming and begging us to stop, and I honestly feel so bad, but I love how this somehow is all of my fault like everything else is. She goes and takes a shower with my brother because I contaminated them. I'm so tired of this. The only reason I came back was because I didn't think she would be abusive to me while pregnant. This is a lot for me and motivates me more to leave. This is just one instance. She's done this to me countless of times. For the sake of OP and their baby, they do need to get out of there. If not for the hands-on stuff, just the stress alone. Honestly, after all of that, I'm surprised OP's only just saying, it motivates me more to leave. I feel like anybody in that situation should be actively looking for a way out. Our next story is, Mom wants me to change my decorations for her kids. Hi everyone, I just want to give some context. I'm a high school student who goes on the school bus every morning. Last year, we had a bus driver who we all loved, but she got moved. Our new driver is something. After Halloween, I chose the Monday after the Halloween day I would put up my Christmas inflatables. They're mine, so I'm responsible for putting them up and taking them down. No big deal. The Thursday after Halloween, my bus driver stops asking me if I can put my decorations up and says she heard about them from another driver. My father had some yard work he still wanted to do, so I told her not yet and that I would soon. She seemed mad and she told her kids, the mean girl won't put up her decorations. I'm a trans male, he, him, and she knows this, and then turned to me and said, look how sad my kids are. I ignored her. After I put them up on that Monday, I got on the bus in the morning. My driver said, thank you for putting the decor up for my kids, they love it. I looked at her and told her I didn't do it for her kids. She got angry again. I had 2 more inflatables I put up last week. One I had just got recently. She told me when I got on the morning after, can you please take down the gnome? My kids don't like it. Maybe replace it with a penguin. They like penguins. I told her in a respectful tone I was not taking it down and that I didn't have a penguin. She told me to buy one. I said unless I'm gifted one, I'm not buying any more inflatables this year. She got so mad at me. She told me I'm so rude and her kids didn't like my gnome, so I should accommodate them. I'm not bending over backwards for her crappy kids, who laugh at me and scream and cry all through the bus rides when they don't get what they want. This whole scenario is crazy. Like, why are they passing by this place and being like, oh, thank you for doing all of this specifically just for us as we drive by? What kind of weird delusional nonsense is that? Our next story is, Mother took the payment for my totaled car. I was in a car accident earlier this month where I was at fault. During the accident, I was 19 and it was 4 days before my birthday. The car title had both of our names on it, but ultimately it was my car. I'm under my mom's car insurance and thankfully had full coverage. They deemed my car totaled because the curtain airbags deployed. My mother was, at first, stressing that I should get the specific car she was telling me to get. The car had a rebuilt title, and it was more money than I even have. I'd found multiple cars, even my exact car, that were a good price that I was hoping to check out. I wanted to use the money insurance would have given me for my totaled car. My mother knew that I didn't want the car she wanted me to get. I told her over text I wanted to get a cheaper car, so she instead decided she would give me her car and take the insurance money to get herself a very nice new car. I didn't get a choice in the matter. I just found out she did it when she told our family she got a new car. Her car has some warning lights, is dirty, and is worse than the car I had. I don't even know how much the insurance company gave for my car because it went directly to her and she won't say. She thinks it was a gift and that I should be more grateful that I don't have to make car payments. Almost every day she's been making comments about me getting a free car. Be careful with this car, I can't afford another one. Since you want to complain about a free car, you can trade it in, but those payments will all be on you. I feel like a brat complaining when some people don't even have a means of transportation. I know I should feel grateful to have a car in the first place, but the fact that I had no choice with something that would have really helped has freaked me over mentally. Even when I first got my car, she made decisions for me despite having little to no knowledge about cars. Scheduling me to get new tires for over $1,000 without asking me and being forced to pay. Going to a specific auto place because she would be ticked if I didn't. Then being shoved with her car that she didn't bother to fix. All I wanted was to get a decent used car that I wouldn't need to make any monthly payments on because I could buy it outright from the owner. Exactly how it was with my totaled car. Now, I have to spend money to fix her car up just to be able to trade it in. She isn't exactly poor and doesn't have any debt to pay, so I haven't been able to see why she did this to me. She seems completely oblivious to the fact that I didn't want this at all. I didn't even know she had the ability to take the money for the car without the insurance also letting me know. I don't know what I'm expecting from posting this. I just can't stop thinking about it. I feel like a failure for getting into an accident. Well, I guess because there's really not much I think OP can do at this point. I think it's something you just kind of take as a learning lesson going forward, and you work to get yourself independent of her. Put yourself in a position where they may try to give you some outside influence, but they can't just take money that is supposed to be coming in for you. They can't just hand you car keys and cash the check themselves. Our next story is entitled Stepmother Fights with My Dad in Front of Our Neighbors Plus More. My entitled stepmother's backstory. Hello everyone. It's been quite a while, but I'm back again with more stories about my entitled stepmom. I traveled back to New Jersey with my mom and stepdad because they had a few months of work up there, and I wanted to see friends and family. Except for entitled stepmother, of course. I get there and everything is fine until we take a trip to our beach house. Before we went, my dad and Demon Spawn had a big fight and he left the night before to go down there. Entitled stepmom claimed that he was drunk and driving, even though I didn't see him drink anything and he was acting normal, but whatever. The next morning I'm on the couch with my little brother, 12, waiting to go, and entitled stepmom walks up to me and says, "If your dad keeps acting like this, I'm taking your brothers and leaving. He's an alcoholic and it's not safe for my kids to be here with him." Before I get into the aftermath, let me explain something. My stepbrother is 24 years old and still lives with us. He's an adult. So can you really decide where he wants to live? And if you take my little brother, you would be taking him away from his school, friends, sports teams, etc. And where would you take them? Before she married my dad, she lived in a crappy, disgusting apartment. Her family lives 2.5 hours away, and even if she did go there, they wouldn't have any room in their houses to let them live there. If she stayed in Jersey, then apartments around my town are pretty expensive, and definitely not in her waitress salary budget. Then to the alcoholic comment. He's not an alcoholic. He gets all of his responsibilities done throughout the day and likes to end it with a drink or two and or some weed. It's legal in our state. That's not an alcoholic. An alcoholic is a person like my cousin Derek, who has his own saga on my page, who doesn't take care of his children, drinks all day, doesn't have a job, and blames it on everybody else but himself. Back to the story. First off, I'm confused on why she thinks that. Second, why is she saying all of this in front of my brother? He's a kid. He doesn't need to hear all of this. Due to my crappy memory and being in the moment, I cannot remember exactly what was said. But there was a pretty heated argument between us with me defending my dad. I really wish I could remember what was said. Dang brain surgery always making me forget things. But anyways, the 2-hour car ride was filled with awkwardness and silence. Also, why would she bring this up to me right before we had to sit next to each other for 2 hours? Did she expect me to agree with her and be happy? Who knows? When we finally got to the beach house, I saw my dad working on some things in the backyard. Instantly, entitled stepmom jumped out of the car, screaming at him. Again, due to my crappy memory, I can't remember all that was said. But anyways, the neighbors next door could obviously hear them, and they were even walking outside. They probably thought we were psychos, and I was so embarrassed. This went on for like 30 minutes. After that cooled down, they separated and I was talking to my dad. He was venting to me about entitled stepmom, and then he realized he needed something, but it was on the golf cart. He saw the golf cart, but entitled stepmom was standing next to it talking to some of my dad's friends. He asked me to go get it because he didn't want to go near her. I started walking over, and entitled stepmom saw me and then lowered her voice. I knew she was talking about my dad. When I got there, I didn't say anything and she wasn't speaking words about my dad, but I could see his friend's face and it looked so confused. My dad has known this guy for 30 plus years, and he later said that his friend told him that he didn't believe a word she said. So are they still together? Is he like putting up with this out of fear? I'm just wondering why there's any kind of relationship going on here. She's just way out of her depth. I would begin to worry that maybe she has some kind of medical issue going on. We continue with the next part, entitled Stepmom Fights with My Dad in Front of Our Neighbors Plus More, Part 2. Later on, my dad asked me and my brother if we wanted to go out to eat, and we both excitedly said yes. But here comes entitled Stepmom and she says, "No, me and little brother are going school shopping." Yeah, like that's what a kid wants to do when they're at the beach house. So then me and my dad went out to eat, and the whole way there he was ranting about her, which I honestly enjoyed hearing. I started to tell him things that I've never told him about her, like stories that I've posted on here. That only added fuel to the fire. He told me that he didn't miss my mom, but he missed the kind of relationship he had with her. He said everything was so much more fun and easygoing. He said how they wouldn't fight in public and go into a private space before they started to argue. Now that says a lot. We were out for hours, and by the time we got home, everything was calm. The rest of the time there was pretty awkward, but no more big fights. I left with my dad and not with her. Also, my brother didn't buy anything but a shirt while out shopping. But that's not all. The rest of my time there was uneventful regarding Entitled Stepmom until I was about to leave to go back home. This took place on November 17th. My dad, Entitled Stepmom, and my little brother were going to the beach house one last time to close it up for the season. Since I wasn't going to be home by the time they got back, they gave me my Christmas presents then. For some reason, Entitled Stepmom opens the gifts first and then the stockings, which I did not grow up with. It was always stockings first, then gifts. Since she moved in, she basically forced this onto me and my dad, even though we didn't like it. Multiple times we tried to do this, but she would tell us no. So I tried to open the stocking first, and she said, "No, we do the gifts first." And I said, "Well, I like to open the stockings first, and we're not all opening gifts. It's just me, so I'm going to open the stocking first." That shut her up. While opening the gifts, I could just feel the anger and awkwardness flowing off her body, but I kept my cool and made jokes and said my thank yous. If you read my last post, I mentioned how my dad didn't give me the best gift. This year, he was really thoughtful and got me a football jersey, the team flag, and some other things, so I was very grateful for that. My dad gave me a heartfelt goodbye, but Entitled Stepmom didn't say anything else to me for the rest of the night. The next day, when I was home alone, I had some plans, so I was getting ready. When I went downstairs, I heard the TV on and thought it was my stepbrother, but it turned out that it was Entitled Stepmom. Apparently, her and my brother stayed home because he was sick. Not gonna lie, I was pretty annoyed. I just don't want to be around her anymore. I was out of the house most of the weekend, so I didn't see much of her. Finally, my mom picked me up on Sunday. We left on Monday, and now I'm home and rid of Entitled Stepmom for now. I'm going back in January for 10 days for medical appointments, but after that, I don't know when I'll be back there. It sucks because I want to be up there to see my family and friends, but I just can't stand her anymore. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be shared around, but I think it's fair enough to tell the people that you do care about and are close to that she's the reason you don't want to go back up there. Hopefully they would keep that to themselves, but shoot. Knowing how she is, she might just be always watching and catch any form of communication between you and your father. Our next story is dreading Thanksgiving. Who all here is dreading to see mom or dad or a step-parent on Thursday? I know that I am. I'm wondering more and more every year if this will be the year that I just go scorched earth and make it the last holiday I attend. I've already been limited contact for a few years. It's been mostly decent, but I see more antagonistic and confrontational Facebook posts and other stuff. I do enjoy seeing my siblings and step-siblings along with their children. Get ready. Take some Xanax if you prescribed it. Maintain your boundaries. Try to enjoy the part of family that you like. Leave if you want or need to. Certainly, if you do decide to take the plunge and go to things like this, you have to kind of rely on the people that you know are good and make you happy. Just surround yourself with the good and try to get through the bad. This next story is throwing shots. A few nights ago, I had the worst toothache I ever had because I went to a dentist that day and have some sort of problem with my tooth. I couldn't sleep all night. Matter of fact, I didn't sleep for the whole night. At 4 a.m., I woke up my mom after contemplating whether or not I should do it, knowing that she will probably not help me much. However, before doing that, I googled my symptoms and got a little bit scared because I found out that it could possibly be an infection and could lead to death. So I was like, whatever, I'm going to try. I woke her up looking for help and closure. Even if she didn't help me, just said a few good words, I would be happy. By the way, I took strong medicine and it didn't help at all. It was really bad. So I woke her up and she cursed me out. Not too strongly, she just really said that I'm crazy for waking her up and she was like, "It's 4 a.m., why are you not sleeping?" I told her, well, I just told you, my tooth hurts the worst it ever did. And she was just angry and not happy at all. No willingness to help, and it was just off. She went to the toilet and we had a mini argument or whatever. I don't even remember. And then she told me that she knows I'm doing this because of school, because I don't want to go and that I'm going to school anyway. I got really angry when she said this because I'm here in agony trying to find comfort in somebody I love, and she tells me this bull. I automatically, without even thinking, said some really bad stuff. That she's a bench, hoe, this, that. I know it's wrong, but the thing is, this isn't the first time something like this happened. I first cussed her out back when she cussed me out, way back. She called me all types of names, like really offensive stuff, and we were just arguing, so I cussed her back. When I did that, she was like, "You're cussing me out? I'm your mom, you have no right to do this." I told her if she can, I can, but she said no, it doesn't work like that, because I'm her child and she's my parent, so I should respect. She cussed me out more times than I cussed her out, and when I finally have enough and cuss her out, I'm the bad one. I just want to know, who's in the wrong here? What do you think about this whole thing? Thanks. When somebody's in real, genuine pain, they don't deserve to be neglected like this. Obviously, they're crazy for thinking that you're just faking this obvious terrible pain at 4 a.m., especially when you had just seen the dentist. And I think it goes without saying that the whole cussing out stuff is not a healthy way to handle things. And yeah, if a parent is going to cuss out their child and act like that, they shouldn't be too surprised when their kid grows up to do the same thing, especially back to them. This next story is, don't feel welcomed by my dad. So I, 20-year-old male, live with my mother, and when I ask to sleep over at my dad's house to see him and my 2 half-related brothers, he always says, "Let me check with my wife." But I don't understand. He tells me, "You are welcome anytime." When I call him, I ask, "How are you?" He just says, "Good," and doesn't even ask how I am. When I was 7, I said I love you to him. He just said, "I like you too." And I never said that again. And it hurt when I watched him say, "I love you" to my brother. Last year, I was asking to sleep over a lot, and then I realized he never asked. So I decided to stop asking and wait to see how long it would take him to ask. It took him about 9 months to finally ask. And the worst part is, I feel like I'm missing out on a good relationship with my brother. He is 10 years younger than me, and I play soccer and some Roblox with him when I come over, and I feel like my dad is stopping that from happening, and I'm sick of always asking, "Can I sleep over?" Because I want to feel invited and welcomed by my dad, not me just always asking. I sometimes feel like I could go years without speaking to him, and he wouldn't notice. I just feel like he genuinely doesn't care. Like, why does it take him 9 months to want to see me? Why are my friends better? Why do friends check up on me so much, calling me and wanting to see me every day, but it takes my dad 9 months to finally ask to see me? There is no excuse, because the answer is, he doesn't give a crap, and he doesn't want to see me. I completely understand why OP's feeling straight up abandoned. If there's somebody that isn't making an effort to hang out with you, at some point it honestly becomes more of a hamper to you to even worry about that. Clearly they're fine and okay with foregoing any kind of real spending time together. So change focus and focus on the people who do want to spend time together. Our next story is, I don't know if I should move out. I, 21-year-old female, live with my mom because I'm saving money to live comfortably on my own, and my state is very expensive when it comes to housing. But it hasn't been an enjoyable time for a few years, along with not being kind to me most of the time, lashing out at me when she's angry or stressed about life issues. My mother doesn't understand privacy. She barges into my room without knocking, doesn't like that I close my door, expects me to keep my life 360 on 24/7 and tell her when I'm at a location, isn't comfortable with me going anywhere without her, and doesn't respect my space. It was way worse when I was a teen. She used to critique what I liked and get annoyed with me whenever I asked her questions she didn't like, such as sex. My sex ed was not great. I've communicated to her how this behavior makes me feel uncomfortable and suffocated, but she refuses to change. For example, ever since I was born, she's used the bathroom connected to my room. I would describe the layout as a large room with my bedroom, then a small 1-foot hallway to the bathroom. Her bathroom shower has been broken for over 20 years, but has never tried to fix it because she reasoned that using my room shower will make it easier for her to keep an eye on me. At first, it didn't bother me, but now I'd like my own personal space. Our plumbing has been having some problems, so I offered to pay for plumbing repairs and her bathroom shower to be fixed. My mom said no and that she preferred using my shower. She usually calls it either our or her shower. I explained to her that I wanted the bathroom connected to my room to only be used by me. My mom told me that my room is not mine since she gave it to me when I was born, and it's her right to use my bathroom. This has frustrated me to no end. I want my own space and feel okay to express myself and have my own space. I told my therapist that these issues and many more are causing me to want to move out. My therapist advised me that I shouldn't move out until I graduate, which is a year and a half away. I don't know what I should do. I would definitely lean towards moving out, but if it makes sense to hold on a little bit longer, finish your schooling, try to save up money if you're working a job at the same time, just take that year and a half, grind it out, and as soon as you can, you'll be able to have all the space you want. Our next story is, I think I'm going to skip Thanksgiving this year, but still go to my grandma's. So I called my mom and told her our plans last night, and it went fine, quick and easy. But then she called like 30 minutes later and she was like, I want to clear the air or whatever. And then she went on about how they were hurt and said my siblings were asking why I didn't want to see them when they left. And she was really ticked that I didn't see them the next morning for breakfast or whatever and didn't plan to pack and stuff beforehand, which frustrates me because they invited themselves basically. And then I asked why we never met in the middle and she asked me why I didn't suggest it. I tried to be as unemotional as possible, but she tried to escalate things, so I said I was gonna hang up. And then began the hour of her calling me nonstop and dragging my dad in. That was last night, and she called me again tonight. And then my dad said, you can't just ignore everything, you both have hurt feelings, you need to talk it out. And she sent her favorite tool. It would be really nice to know what we did or what I did, because she's obviously the victim and she has the whole family dragged in. I've been nauseous and been in fight or flight mode since then and have been having extreme anxiety since then, since Thanksgiving is in 3 days. Like, she keeps asking what they did, but I can't put it into words, and if I could, they just appease me for like 1 or 2 visits and then reverts back to whatever it was before. I'm unsure if I want to go to Thanksgiving anymore, honestly. I want to see my siblings and my grandpa, but I don't want to see my parents, because my dad is obviously taking her side, but I still feel so in the wrong and like I'm making up the problem in my head. I mean, I could visit my grandpa the next day and like invite my siblings to lunch or something, but I don't know if I can even do that. I just feel gross and awful about everything. I think you have to put your foot down and try to get across to them that you are your own person. And straight up, they just need to respect you and the choices you're making. That it stresses you out when they try to interfere rather than just accept that you're an adult, you make your own decisions, and this is your life. Although I know it's easier said than done speaking up and saying that to somebody like your parents. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another absolutely crazy entitled parent story, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.